consequences of truth. What is truth? What's real truth? What more truth is there to find? The truth of consciousness itself. Does truth have its own consciousness? Is that where all the truth comes from? Of course, that would be God, I guess. But then there's a but, so there shouldn't be a but. So of course, yeah, everything comes from not of course. Well, yeah, of course, everything comes from some source. So there's a source of everything. That makes sense. So yeah, of course, I guess. There's just so many different manners and aspects and the way the energies work and how they might possibly work and what consciousness really is. Consciousness, I think that can be measured, I'm pretty sure, just like I just want to say I know, just by the resonance of the being. It's not the intellect. The intellect and all the physical stuff studied scientifically, the physical part, but the spiritual part, I think, can be very easily, and I think has been for a long time, known how to have been measured in everything. Because as our resonance increases, our energy, the resonant frequency of our energy field overall increases and changes in its frequency and its vibration. So, yeah, and it's heard plenty about that. It can be individual. What is but then what is that? And how has that changed? How do I work within that even more than I am now? How is it that you see more? How is it that you come to know more? How is it that I came to realize these things? And how do I keep continuing to realize and feel and gain? I guess that's where the patience comes in, is you gotta let it come patiently. Still, things keep getting put together in my mind, it seems, whether I'm actively doing it or not. Whether it's only to tie together a couple words or a couple phrases here and there to some image, like just different things are being made sense of, it seems, whether I try or not. But then I'm still left with, what is this, and what is this experience, and what is this place? Because I know, to me, I want to say I know that should be able to happen for everybody. And is it indeed? But just at different rates. I guess that's still different rates for each individual, depending on how much energy maybe they can intake due to their individual circumstance. Where there's like a floodgate worth of energy available and coming in and engulfing us all, and as we're immersed in it. More energy, a change in energy, a change in conscious energy. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the luminaries, they are conscious energies of some, that would make sense. They would have some aspect of consciousness to them. Energies that we can watch out there all the time, just like we're energies that are just down here in a different, more physical, a lot more finite type form, type of whatever. So yeah, why not is what I figured too, with the whole connecting energetically to the things out there. And even in life down here, of course, it works the same way to me. That consciousness energy is here too, in all the life that exists here with us, like us, in physical form. And that we're just as interconnected, and that energy is growing as well. The consciousness of that energy itself. of the earth itself, of life itself, while being influenced and affected like by cosmic scale, so to speak, energies of consciousness, or with aspects of in these energies. So, and then, yeah, but it's a pretty broad idea, but so I'm sure there's tons of details that go with that, and what are the kind of, yeah, what kind of beings and this and that there are that exist all here with us at the same time, you know, however and wherever, in whatever form or fashion type of thing. But I bet there's quite a lot, maybe. And then also at the same time, it also makes perfect sense to me that there is not any of those extra things like that, but still that source energy, and maybe only that source energy. Maybe that makes even more sense to me, that there is only that source energy of consciousness, God. That everything else was a creation of some deceptive type of energy that manifests in some form or fashion, but that maybe have started small, but has gotten totally out of control, intertwined, intertangled throughout everything, and has been allowed to grow unknowingly, just because the way things happen to develop, I guess, and because the greed and the fear and the way we're taught, to believe. We're taught to believe instead of know, to ask outwardly instead of know inwardly, especially with truth itself, real truth, the truth of things, right and wrong, moral, right and wrong, the appreciation of life itself. Where you're trained and taught not to appreciate it, and then we start to act in that fashion, and we destroy everything in each other while acting in that fashion, only out of greed and fear, and because of being taught incorrectly and just having an incorrect perception built for us, really, purposefully. But to me, what's the grander lesson? And to me, it all comes from a source energy, a source consciousness. Then this very well could be a place of, like a hell, so to speak, or a limbo or a purgatory, like I was talking with my son about earlier, and I'd considered plenty in the past. That maybe it really is to me, and I wrote things like that maybe this place is really a place for spiritual development, to learn a spiritual lesson that could not have been learned without having this experience in this way, to get the depth and the profoundness of cause and effect, to really truly consider and feel, think and feel and consider and know things before you even ever get into a situation where you need to manipulate energy in such a way, shape, form, or fashion outwardly to where it would cause harm. Maybe we had to be here to experience this in physical bodies to really feel what it feels like to feel. Because if we didn't, all we would have is some sort of idea of what it would be like to feel. And that's only then, while the mind can go real deep and do a lot of things, and you can even feel feelings empathetically that you can put there yourself. That's only because we're in this form. But if it was in a state without this form that was only consciousness, only energetic, how could, in that form, we wouldn't be able to really get the full comprehension maybe of the lessons we're supposed to get. So we are careful to do no harm. And being able to get that here, to me, has become the point for me. That was a point of truth that is really, I really felt deeply, and in my career and in my chosen path in life was really opposed to that, opposed to life. So, I mean, not that I was some crazy, I mean, I was crazy, but I mean, I'm not talking about like I killed a whole bunch of people or something like that. But I hurt people, and I did kill, probably. See, I can't say for sure. I can't say, because, I mean, who's to say whose thing did what when there's all kinds of stuff flying back and forth or flying around or blowing up in the air, by both sides, or whatever. It's just the act of being in that act, really, that it was crushing to me when that point of truth really drilled in deep into my mind at first, which is really that's part of what caused me a sort of meltdown, but it's everything. It's totality of things, I guess. But that feeling too, when it drilled into my heart, just the harm I had caused, and then it wasn't just physical type stuff or anything. I mean, there wasn't like a whole bunch of crazy physical stuff. I'm not talking about that. I wasn't some savage monster just destroying everything. Well, I mean, I did break a lot of stuff. I tore up stuff. I had all these. I don't know. It's a whole destructive nature, really, of being. When there's this war thing that's just made up, and people are just placed against each other for others' reasons. That's the problem with the whole order follower, order giver. Who's most wrong? It doesn't matter. It does matter. It does. I mean, they're both wrong, but it's the people that carry out those actions against others that are the most responsible, like I am. Because I actually physically was in other people's, or other folks' area where they live, where they exist, I was uninvited as hell with everybody, just like everybody else that I was with. We were just sent there, and then destructive crap happens, and people can't live their lives, just live their lives in peace. And just exist in peace and go about day-to-day life because someone else had some reasons where they want to put a group of people somewhere, and yeah, it's ridiculous what's going on. And now to me, and that's what's so weird, when it all seems so clear then, when I was totally under the spell of mind control, that I believed in all these labels, and I believed in belief of stupid concepts and things and others' ideas that would cause me to act on them without thinking too much into it, because don't think too much into it. Just stay trapped in that left brain logical modality and just robot your way through this fucking existence, robot. And that's fucking what I turned into. And that's what's so weird looking back now, because then it seemed so normal, and I couldn't feel And that's what it was. I could not feel that there was more. And when I could, or when I tried to feel that there was more, I wouldn't let myself, because as soon as I would start to feel some bit of sadness or something, or even love for that matter, love, any of the feelings, was taught to like, hey, push that down, push that away, get rid of that, you don't need that. It was like taught, trained in, and driven, and everything that was put into me drove that even harder. Especially the chemicals like that are injected in with vaccines, and the chemicals that are consumed in pills that alter brain chemistry, that alter so many things inside the body. Who knows? I don't care. I'm not one of those DNA manipulating scientifical type folk. Because to me, the natural way now, me getting back to the natural way of doing things, that's the way. And I felt it in my body that the DNA itself was healing, that the DNA itself had something to do with the Akashic records and knowledge that could be distilled into wisdom, that was already there and that was already in here, that's already inside all of us, that resonates within this energy, this energetic ether of conscious energy we all exist in, where all the energy is free because it's all electromagnetic in nature. Yet we're in physical form, so free energy is everywhere to use, and we're made of free energy because we are free energy. Just like the medicine in that video, the medicine, the cannabis, it's a plant, it's free, it comes from the ground, and it's medicine, and to consume it is magical healing. It has been for me in a natural way to the DNA level. To me, again, I'm not a scientist, and I wouldn't have anybody, I avoid that now. I avoid all of those type of establishments and institutions and different experts, because I don't trust any of it anymore. And it's not the folks within it, because the folks are just doing it. So I don't know if it's good, bad, because a lot of time them folks themselves don't know if it's good or bad either. Just like when the job I was doing, being a scout in the military, thought I was doing something, great. And to me it was great. It was great to protect the country, my family, and all this, and go over there so no one has to come over here and all that. I fell for the whole concept. I fell for the whole belief of the whole paradigm of good guys versus bad guys everywhere, when it's just folks trying to live. A bunch of folks trying to live. They've been taught different things in different places and told different things about each other too in different ways to set everyone against each other. Not everyone, but I mean, that is from like the big perspective of things, like seeing just how there's all these groups just fighting everywhere all the time for whatever. And I don't like those kind of words like everywhere and all the time and always and things, because I can't really say those things. I don't even know we don't know what history is. We don't know how long this place has really existed. You can make up numbers and stories to match any narrative or timeline you might want to construct, I would think. And from what I've looked at, it seems to have been what has happened. So I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert. So in that, it really doesn't matter to me, because right here, right now, in the present moment, here is where I am. Right here in real life, where I don't need anybody's answers out there on what's going on, because I can work through it on my own in a happy, content type of way. And then now especially that I've been able to get myself to that state where I can do that for myself, where I couldn't before. I was always looking outward because I was stuck outward. I was stuck outside myself. My consciousness was stuck. Stuck actually in my left brain, just locked into the logical portion of thinking. This is why so many folk are right-handed out there and taught to be right-handed, because controlled by the left side of the left hemisphere of the brain, right side of the body. So if you train the right side of the body real hard constantly from birth, kind of keeps the synapses firing a lot on that side, on the logical side, especially when you combine that with getting into school and then you start hammering in stupid words and things to memorize, repeat, do this, manipulate this, do this, but you're doing it all with this left brain and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. Don't be too creative, be a little bit, get a little bit of art class here and there because you need a little bit, but then get back to learn. Stay locked in that left brain modality of logic until you are a robot. At least that's what happened to me looking back at my experience, which it worked. It worked. And I thought I knew all kinds of stuff, and that's all it turned out to be, was my head was just full of stuff that I had never bothered to really go into, look at, see if anything in it was true, not true. Nope, just went with belief because it came from somebody that told me the stuff, who's supposedly an authority figure or some sort of expert, not expert, or at least educated individual in the area being taught. Then find out later that a lot of those areas being taught that you can be you can be an expert in some of these areas. They're absolute falsehoods. So you can spend a whole lifetime or a career, or spend a whole lifetime really of study on a specific area, only later to maybe find out that the whole thing was made up. Whole thing. You know, I kind of feel the same way with the whole military thing. You know, I could spend like a whole career doing something where I think I was doing something for the good of all, only to find out that no, the whole thing was fake. The whole thing. None of it should have been set up to where any of us should have been fighting anyway. So to me, looking at me in the mirror, looking back, is like, nope, you made the wrong choice. And to me, it was like, you made the wrong choice. You took the wrong path. You took the left-hand path, so to speak. The path of severity through life. You know, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, because stuck in that left brain modality of thought, boy, and yep. And then I saw, like, I better do something about myself, and quickly, because I wasn't that. I wasn't that on the inside. I was more than that, and I knew it. I just didn't understand what I was starting to feel and starting to think. Only that there was more. And I felt that in just that short bit of that instant in the moment, that small fraction of time where I actually came to the present moment as I looked into the mirror when this whole thing started for me, this change, profound whole lifestyle change for me. It was in that instant where I came fully to the present moment at a screeching halt, all the thoughts, everything, as I looked, and then I saw deeper in, and then deeper, and then deeper and deeper, and then madness ensued, is what it was. But in that moment, I also felt there was with all the dark that seemed to have been created that I was trapped in, most of those were beliefs and old past fears and old past this and that and old past things that I had never learned. I didn't quite realize that at the time, that all I was doing was starting to grow inside into a fully responsible adult, spiritual being in physicality in a physical body now, becoming a full adult in mind, body, spirit, to the best of my ability, which I'm still trying to continue on that same path. And that's why it's hard to say things in certain ways, because I don't want to say things to put myself on some kind of pedestal or make it sound like I'm doing that, because that's the problem, because none of us are that. We're all the same. We're all on the same playing field, so to speak. We're all on the same level, so to speak, you know, like However, there are layers and levels of consciousness I've come to know and realize, which I didn't know before. When I was locked into that just logical thought, that modality of thought and act, react, based off whatever stuff was kind of plugged in there and taught and then believed. I don't know where I was. What I was about to say. When I was in that state, though, I wasn't. I don't know what I was. Looking back, I don't know what I was, and that's what's so kind of scary. Because while at the time, if you would have ever asked me, I would have thought everything was perfectly fine, because it was. And I was just a regular guy. It's a regular man, regular father, regular guy that became a soldier, that was going to work, that was doing things. That had kids, that had a wife. And I do still, and I love them. But looking back now, it's so, and it hurts me, like I've felt it deep too, that I missed so much time with them. When I think back, my memories are images for the most part of different things, just images now. And they're coming back. They're still coming back, getting more coherency, but still, I was so shut off that a lot of that time will never come back. And I know that because I was so shut off that, I mean, it's all gone, and I know, and it's the past now, and I've come to, fully get over the grips of that and the profoundness of that lost time and the sorrow from that and the despair from that, along with, just being able to have done better in general, overall, knowing what I know now looking back. It's that type of thing where, hindsight's 20/20. It's all that, but it's actually looking back inside and feeling back inside deeply enough over and over and over and over again to really get something from it, get the wisdom from it, because there's plenty there, even though the time now is gone. It's not coming back, and that's fine. I don't want it back. But, no, I'm just talking. It's just recording. I was just talking just to try and get some words out. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't worry. It's not doing anything. I wasn't actually planning to do anything with it either, for sure. I'm just talking.